Hello everybody, welcome to Been My Pleasure. My name is JC. It's Friday, we're going into the weekend, so we're going to discuss things that you can do to increase your gratuity and tips. It's tips for tips. Welcome back everybody. Again, my name is JC. It's been my pleasure. I'm joined today by my friend Ethan Clark. The D is silent. Ethan, any big tips that you might have for our server friends in the community to help them increase their gratuities and tips this weekend?
Oh yes, we all know we live off our tips, so why not get a little help from fellow coworkers, somewhat coworkers. Anyway, I don't know about most establishments, but some establishments have on the credit card receipt prints out a little gratuity. What I have found out to help me tremendously is circle it, not just one, even though sometimes I have to just make a point, circle the whole thing. Write a quick thank you, smiley face by the tip sign, just something to make it more personable. If you make the experience more personable, people will want to come back, they feel more welcome, and they feel like they bonded with you a little bit. You're going to want to be nicer to someone that you bonded with and actually had a good laugh around. And with that is, there's no such thing as there is an angry table, but I feel like you can turn it around, without a doubt. Okay. Most people are angry because they're hungry. That's why they're here. So feed them, make it quick at the first time. Once you see them starting to calm down a little bit, just pay attention to their face. 80% of communication is through the face. They can tell you everything is okay, but their face might be saying, hey, I hate everything about this, but I'm not going to say anything. So just stay at the table until you're 100% sure that everything is fine. Even if you have to nicely beat it out of them, just be like, are you sure everything's okay? Pinpoint everything, extra butter, extra anything, anticipate the needs, but not being too needy, to the point.
All right, to expand on what you said, I heard a lot of good things there. Engaging the guest, anticipating the needs. When I say engage the guest, you were talking about staying at their table. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of times, and I've been guilty of this in the past myself, and I'll probably be guilty of it in the future as well, when a guest, you'll think that the guest is done speaking to you or they've asked you to do something and you've already started to turn and leave the table to go address whatever that concern was. You want to make sure you stay until you're dismissed. Not dismissed, but until you're certain that they're done speaking to you so that you can then go and address their concern or fetch whatever they happen to need, anticipating their needs. We discussed that with Michelle Clark last week. So she also said something similar to that. You also mentioned that personalizing your check at the end. Mm-hmm. That's a great one. I know we're from a casual dining restaurant experience. We worked together in the past, and I know that the slip you're talking about had multiple gratuity amounts that were written right on the check. So it had, for example, 15%, 20%, 18%, 25%, I forget what they were, but you just circle all of those. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. Put a smiley face on there. I know when I worked with credit cards receipts, I would say, thank you, Mr. or Mrs. Smith, whomever it was, write that right on top of right next to the tip line. They know where to put it. And if they happen to ask you, this is one you might want to use in the future. This is one I use all the time. If they happen to ask you, where do they put the tip? Where do I write the tip? Well, sir or madam, you sir or madam, not ma'am, or not man or broad. Sir or madam, I've indicated where you may contribute to my ramen noodle fund if you're so inclined. That one goes over real well.
Okay.
Or I've indicated where my tuition funds, where you may, things like that. So those help out. Engaging the guest. Yes, engaging the guest. Don't be mad. They might be mad, especially if it's Friday. I mean, just because our day is only 3 days in or 2 days in or even 1 day in for some of us, doesn't mean that they're not finishing the end of their week, So lighten the mood. Like you said, go up and, hey, how's your day going so far? Is that I can't. I'm glad it's so over. I'm just like, yeah, I know. Nothing will mess with your Friday worse than realizing it's only Tuesday, right? What? It's only Tuesday? Little levities, little things like that. Those help out. Anything else that comes to mind?
A million things come to mind. I can't pinpoint them. But
a million?
I have a million things to say.
Things just can't all say at once.
All right. Well, break them down into one individual at a time.
That's like I'm trying.
All right. So let me give you an example. It's Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
At the casual dining experience, you have a happy hour, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, okay. How do you address people at happy hour when they come in? What can you do to, we all know that there is a certain correlation, not causation, between your ticket price and your tip share.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what do you do during happy hour to ensure that you're giving them the best value for their dollar and hopefully receiving the best value on your tip share.
One starting it out with, hey, how are we all doing? Is there any special occasion bringing us in? That's a big one. You can know if they're here real quick or if they're actually here to enjoy their time. If they are here to enjoy their time, bring up happy hour. People will become happier with happy hour. They just say they're doing terrible, be like, hey, it's happy hour, woo!
Terrible hour is on Wednesday. Terrible hour is on Wednesday between 8 and 9 in the morning. Happy hour is on the weekend.
Exactly. And then just pinpoint where the menu's at for the happy hour. Don't overrun them. Just say, hey, there it is if you're interested. Also offer other things that are on a happy hour. You know, you can still up your ticket that way, but you can also give them the best bang. If they want something as like a fruity drink, your establishment may have like a special, like a $3.98
Whatever
pina colada. But that is, you know, not the best, but there's, for $4 more, a bigger and more tastier version. Offer them both. Make their decision, but give them both the options. You never know which way it'll go. Regardless, they're going to be drinking. They're going to have a good time.
Yep. One more thing I'm going to add about Fridays, especially Fridays, sometimes Saturdays, but especially Fridays. It's been a long week. They want to decompress, but they want service immediately. How do you balance that? How do you balance the let them decompress while simultaneously making sure you provide all of their needs? I think you've kind of addressed that. I'm going to kind of address it myself. Be there when they sit down. Be prepared. Care for an ice cold draft to get the heat off your back, right? I mean, sure, that's a suggestive sell right away, but they're probably there to drink. Get you a drink. Have them look over the menu. Care for an ice cold draft. Care for a cocktail while you look over the menu. Whatever your cocktail or ice cold draft happens to be. I know that in the concept we worked at, we use specific names. I don't want to use one here because I don't want anybody to misconstrue it as an endorsement. But let's say it was my brand beer, JC's Stout. Would you care for a nice JC Stout while you look over the menu? Those type of things. But give them the space. Let them look over the menu. Let them relax. It goes back to what we were talking about during our Monday Moan, about people that linger for a long period of time or want to close section. Sure, but during happy hour, I think it was last week I was talking about it with Michelle. Anyways, during happy hour, you want them to let them decompress, right?
Yes.
Is that what you're there?
Exactly.
All right.
Get them more relaxed. Let them enjoy their time. It'll help you out in the end. And it might be a blast to serve. You never know.
That's right. Make sure, whatever television's on, if you can adjust it, all that other good stuff. Music volumes. These are all things that I've covered with other guests of my show, other servers, as Monday Moans, things like changing the television when they're co-linked together. And I know we had this at our concept. 2 televisions in different sections of the restaurant would be linked to the same channel. 2 different people would want to watch it. But that's another show, that's another topic. We're still talking about tips for tips. By the time our guests out there see this, it will be January, mid-January. We're recording just before New Year's and Christmas. It's a couple days before Christmas. But the next holiday our viewers will see will be Valentine's Day.
Oh, Valentine's Day.
Any particular tips that you can come up with to help our...
Yes. Realize this is one day out of the year. I know we probably have 2 of them in some cases. I don't know. Some stores are open Thanksgiving, but Valentine's Day is one of those days that you just have to come in, make the most of it. It's going to be busy regardless. Keep a smile on your face. Realize that, these might be teenagers and their mommy and daddy gave them a $20 allowance, and that's just enough for the food. Turn that table as fast as possible. They're young. Get them out. Get them in. You might get an older couple that's been together for 75 years, and you can bring a conversation about that. People love talking about how long they've been together.
Sure.
Especially the more years, I feel like the happier or more crazy they are.
The longer they've been together, the more openly they will discuss their plans of disposing of each other's bodies, which is like...
That's all fun and games.
It's all fun and games, and they love it.
Lighten your mood, too.
Yeah. Well, Ethan, thank you so much for joining me. Is there anything else you can think of?
Make that money.
Make that money. We like that. All right, my friends, if you've enjoyed this content and would like to see more like it, please subscribe by clicking on my pixelated friend's face. If you really enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up. If you think it's all hogwash, give us a thumbs down. If your emotions run deeper than that, feel free to leave a comment below. But until next time, my name is JC. It has been my pleasure.